Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday, the 16th of August, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished up 1.3% today to 7,971 points, led higher by energy and materials companies. The financials and tech stocks did pretty well also. It's been 6 sessions of gains in a row, and for the week, the benchmark is up 2.5%. Commonwealth Bank had another very good day, up nearly 2%, while National Australia Bank, Westpac and ANZ all performed well. The big miners, BHP, Fortescue Metals Group and Rio Tinto bounced after some pretty weak sessions. Energy giants Woodside and Santos also performed well, as did tech groups REA and Xero. James Hardie Industries jumped nearly 6%. Best on the day was Zipco, which surged 13%. In the not-so-good category were Goodman, Wesfarmers, Telstra and Coles. Story number 2, Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock made it very clear today that interest rates are not going to rise, but they're not going to fall either, anytime soon at least, saying current interest rate settings appear likely to bring inflation down to a manageable level. It's the end of a very busy week for economists, with labour force, wage data, and business and consumer confidence readings all suggesting a cooling economy, though nothing too dramatic. Ms. Bullock said it was premature to think about rate cuts. Now, financial markets are pricing in a strong chance of a cut later this year. The governor said services inflation remains high, while the prices of goods are coming down, and a sign that supply chain issues are being addressed. Ms. Bullock said she understood many households would like to see a fall in interest rates, especially for those with mortgages or business operators, but she added the alternative of higher inflation for longer is much worse. And I quote her, "Inflation has not been this high for a few decades, and I think many people have forgotten how bad it is. Some younger people will not have experienced high inflation at all." Story number 3, ASX Limited, the organisation that runs the Securities Exchange, reported a slight fall in profit today on the back of higher regulatory expenses. The ASX this week has been hit with a federal court case brought by ASIC about alleged misleading statements over the replacement of its CHESS system. The CHESS system, along with updates to core systems and the need for more staff to address regulatory demands, is putting pressure on the exchange's bottom line. Chief Executive Helen Lofthouse said the exchange was carefully reviewing and considering the allegations from ASIC while remaining committed to taking the ASX forward. She said the markets and data businesses had increased revenue while listings income had fallen, though Ms. Lofthouse said there were signs of a return in IPO activity. ASX's share price finished flat. Story number 4, there were a bunch of other earnings results out today. Online property group Domain posted a 63% jump in net profit. This was built on an 18% rise in average revenue per listing and growth in its unique audience. The number of listings on Domain was up 4% year on year during July. The group declared a final dividend of 4 cents a share, taking the full year payout to 6 cents a share. Amcor, the world's largest consumer packaging group, says there are some early signs of a small upturn in demand from customers as a destocking trend in inventory comes to an end. Now, Amcor runs 210 packaging plants in 43 countries, making pouches, wraps and containers for food, beverage and healthcare customers. The destocking phenomenon had cut its bottom line by 27% for the last financial year. The other one out today worth a mention, wealth manager GQG Partners reported a surge in funds under management in the first half of this year, reflecting a strong investment performance. The Fort Lauderdale-based manager increased inflows by nearly $17 billion, and the company's share price is up more than 60% this year. And finally, story number 5, Donald Trump has dismissed calls to halt his personal attacks on Kamala Harris, insisting that he would defeat the vice president by a wide margin in November. Senior Republicans have urged the former president to tone down his rhetoric against Harris, who has opened up a lead in this year's White House race, according to a report in the Financial Times. But Trump defied those calls, telling reporters gathered at his Bedminster golf resort that he was very angry at Harris and entitled to personal attacks. I quote him, "I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president." He went on to say, "She certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird." Trump went on to defend his running mate J.D. Vance, saying, "He's not weird. He was a great student at Yale. He went on to Ohio State, graduated at the top of his class." That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 16th of August, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Join Michael Thomas and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.